get tired. 2-minute rounds in bare knuckle, 3-minute rounds in this. Could be a big difference. So 8-round fight. All right, now let's go ahead, John. Let's get into the Nate Diaz, Fanmio and talking conversation. Let's go right ahead.
First up, well, the whole thing comes down to this. If you sign a contract, someone guarantees you a certain amount of money and then goes, I can't pay you that.
Okay.
Really?
No.
Really?
Okay, so let me give you.
Go ahead.
Look,
let me hear it.
I am 100%.
Let me hear your side as you stand with the promoter.
No. This is where I am at. I'm a huge Nate Diaz fan. I don't care what anyone thinks about me or says about me. I am a huge Diaz brother fan. Okay, grew up fighting on the same cards with Nick. Love Nick to death. Okay, excited to watch him fight coming up. Love Nate Diaz, no matter what people think about me. I don't give a shit. I love Nate Diaz. I love what they do for the combat sports industry, both of them. So I have nothing negative to say about them. Okay, that being said, on the promotion side, okay, they do, I believe, and I love Fanmio. I worked with them. I worked with them on this show. I think that they did a great job of doing the production. I think they did a great job of trying to market the Diaz and Masvidal fight, as well as the Sean Garcia and Fernando Vargas or Amato Vargas fight. Yeah, they did the Shane Mosley Jr. fight along with Danny Jacobs. They did a great job. This is where I think, from what I understand, this is where the problem lies, is that contractually Nate was supposed to do certain events to promote the fight, and he didn't. It's in there contractually.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How many seats were sold?
18,000.
18,000. And how big is the arena?
I don't know, somewhere around the 18,000, obviously.
18,000.
Yeah.
I think Nate Diaz did his fucking part.
John, there's different.
No,
stop.
No, stopping. Listen, you can sit there and say whatever you want.
No.
I'm going to say whatever you want.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
That's fine. And Fanmio can sit there and say whatever they want. Oh, contractually, he didn't cover all of the bases that we had in the contract. Okay. Did he fucking fill that arena? They didn't.
Who's they?
I guarantee they didn't.
Who's they?
Right? Fanmio.
Well,
they didn't fill it.
John,
no.
There was
the person
Sean
that
Garcia's
filled
from
that
LA.
arena.
Fernando Vargas from that area.
I understand.
It's not like they did not sell tickets.
I know they sold tickets, but the person that put the most butts in seats was who?
John.
It was Nate Diaz. Okay, so you don't sit there and tell me,
it was Nate Diaz.
Amato Vargas sold the more tickets. Okay, didn't happen. Sean Garcia didn't happen. So the guy that sold the most tickets is the guy that is now not being paid. You can sit there and say whatever you want. You don't pay him. You got your little contract. You are fucking done. Done.
Then they can be
done, son.
They can be done then. Okay. But look, my point is, though, is that there was a contract written and he was supposed to honor it. He didn't honor it. Look, the UFC had the same problems with him. So to say that we're surprised, we're not surprised.
The UFC paid him.
You're right. You're right.
Everything they were supposed to pay him.
Okay, you're right.
And you know why?
Because
was he a needle
mover?
He was a needle mover, and
out there.
He fucking fought his ass off no matter what.
I get, John. I understand everything you're saying. I do understand everything you're saying, but
I just can't believe you're on the side.
I'm not. I'm simply saying that
you are on it, dude.
I'm not.
You are fucking paddling hard for that fucking side of the fucking boat.
I'm honestly saying that. Look, you have a contract that you signed, that your team signed, everyone signed, and I hope he does get his money. I hope he does. But I'm honestly like, you didn't do a majority of what you were supposed to do on that contract. Like, I'm sorry, but look, and this is not about seats, John. They ticketed. I don't know if you know what the ticket prices were. It was $75 for floor seats. So you sold 18,000. Great, you sold out the crowd. I thought beautifully. Seats up above were like $25 or $50.
I love that.
I agree with you. I love the fact that it was that way because more people got to come and watch one of their favorite fighters fight.
That's right.
And I love that about them. But let's not forget, this is the pay-per-view industry. This is not just in the arena. You need to make sure that we're making money.
But if you're Fanmio, you've got your little people. Hold on. You got your little people that are telling you, oh, we should make this much or that much, or there'll be this many pay-per-view buys.
No, that wasn't the deal, though. The deal was you do the marketing that you're supposed to do, and we'll help sell pay-per-views.
He went out there and fought the fight, and they're not paying him. They are finished if they don't pay him. Who the fuck is going to trust him?
Well, if you do your contractual obligations, right?
No, you can sit there and say what you want.
I'm simply saying, John. I'm not disagreeing with you on this. You and I had that. We were texting back and forth.
For someone, Fanmio, to come up and say, "We want to do your fight, and we'll pay you this." And you're the people that didn't pay Nate Diaz, right?
It's not a good, definitely not a good look, John. It's not. It's horrible. I'm simply saying this though, is that if you're a fighter and you have done business with them before and you got paid. Okay, and you're now a fighter. Everyone else on the card got paid. Okay. I guess except for the main event. So the two of them didn't get paid. Now I don't know what that means, because what I don't get is I don't know why. I don't know what that means in terms of if George didn't get paid, what did he not do? Okay, if Nate didn't get paid, what did he not do? From what
I saw, George was all over the place.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
doing media.
Well, he was doing the stuff that was in the contract.
I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm saying, if they didn't pay George, George may be nice and is not saying something right now, but if they don't pay George will hunt them down.
I talked about this though on the broadcast when we did the show, is that Nate has been known to do this. He doesn't do any media really leading up to it, and the week and a half or 2 weeks before, he comes in hard. He just starts throwing water bottles. He starts yelling, starting fights. Like, this is what he does. This is what stirs up all that extra media that last 2 weeks. This is the way he's always done it. Leave me alone during my fight camp. I'm in shape now the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Now I'm ready to go ahead and start talking trash. You know what I mean? Like, I got to get the work in first. And it seems like that's what he does. Like, he makes sure that everyone stays away from him for the first 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and then that last week and a half, he's guns blazing, go ahead and talking shit. It's like, I've already done all my work. I put in the hard work on the mitts and on the track and on the, and in the pool and all of these things. So I'm on the fighter side in terms of getting paid. But
sure doesn't sound that
John,
way.
where do we? But you're drawing a line, basically saying that he should get paid even though he didn't do his obligations.
Hey, did he fight?
So just fighting's just the standard now.
Excuse me.
No, is that the standard now?
Did he show up and fight that night?
So should we just not sign? So what's the point of contracts? I'm just so what's the point of having a contract, John? What's the point?
Hey, sometimes there are no contracts.
If he can
renege on that,
sports, but then I can renege on paying him.
Sit there and say, I saw him in press conferences and I saw him show up and fight. You better pay that man.
Okay. You're setting a slippery slope for every boxer.
I'm not setting up any kind of slippery
yes, you're
slope.
opening the door. You're saying you're saying is right. Here. Fighters neglect your contract. Just go.
This is the slippery slope you have.
That's all that matters.
Because Fanmio is sitting on that slippery slope, and someone's pushing them from behind. Because as soon as they get to this, it's going to be downhill for not paying Nate Diaz. I don't know. I feel like, I'm always I'm siding with the side of the fighter. I want him to get paid. Okay. And in terms of what he did and what he didn't do in his contract, I have no idea, but I'm simply saying, like, I know that's what was, he didn't tweet enough.
No, that's what was real. I don't know, John.
I don't either.
What was in there, but what you're saying though, is that it's okay for fighters not to do their obligations on the contract that they signed.
I'm not saying it's not okay for someone not to do their obligations, but when it comes down to someone saying, oh, the difference between me paying you $0 and $10 million after you fought for me is you didn't do all of the Twitter
we paid him
and
$1 million.
Instagram messages we wanted.
He got $1 million up front, I think.
He got something up front, I know.
He's gonna get paid, John. There's just no way he's not gonna get paid. I don't know if he's gonna get paid the full $10 million, but
I'll tell you what.
Well, can I ask you this?
I'm just saying.
Can I ask you this? No, I'm having a conversation with you.
Okay, that's great. Let's go.
So if there was a direct, if you're saying all those people were in those seats because of Nate, correct? A big proportion of them.
Nate was a big
Absolutely.
part of it. I'm not saying other fighters,
and I agree with you,
but Nate's a big part of it.
So why would there not be a bigger portion of them that would be on the pay-per-views? That's where they make their money. So when he didn't do his obligations, that took direct effect to his pay-per-view buys. So that's what I'm paying him.
When you're selling tickets for me to be able to go there at a price that your fucking pay-per-view is, I'm going to show up.
Okay, but when you're sold out, I'm just simply saying, had he promoted it, what about all those people around the world, though, or around in the UK or in Canada and in the US that can't make it to the fight? And he didn't do his obligations to advertise the pay-per-view beforehand.
How do you know he didn't do all of his obligations?
What's that?
How do you know he didn't?
That's what it says in the document, saying he didn't do his obligations. That's why they're holding his money.
So
whatever was released in the media.
So whatever they're saying is absolutely right.
We know there's two sides to every story, John.
Absolutely.
We know.
That's the whole point.
Okay. No, I'm getting it. But the thing is that you're telling me that you're basically saying that all those fans were there for him in the crowd. And
as simple as it gets. This is as simple as it gets. Let's break this into parts. Okay? Parts is parts. If you're going to take a look at what Nate Diaz did, and I'll say, I don't know what he said in his contract. I have no idea. But when he stepped into that ring against Masvidal and fought the 10 rounds of fighting, he covered, in my opinion, 95% of what his obligation is.
So pay him 95% then.
Okay.
So that's $1 million, which they did. They're done.
Have you lost your mind? How is that?
Sorry.
Where's your mind?
So if you're saying, so pay him the 95%. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So pay him the 95%. Yeah. Pay him the 95%.
Okay. All right. I don't have a problem with it. He does, but I don't, because it's not my money.
Yeah.
95% of 10 million would be what, Josh?
What, 9,000 or 9 million? 9.5.
There you go.
It's
a lot of money.
No, I know what you're saying. The bottom line is that this is obviously above our pay grade when it comes to contract stuff. You know, they need to figure it out. You're opening the door for fighters to go, you know what, I'm going to do all this stuff for you. John, we have sponsors, and we've gone through this with sponsors. You don't deliver. Yes, what do? They don't pay. Did you want to run to them and say, guess what? We did this and this and this, but we didn't do this. And it doesn't work that way. You know, it doesn't work that way.
Well, you're the one that knows the rules.
Yes, I do. I do know the rules on it. This is why I'm on top of all this stuff.
I don't even know how to do that.
I know. This is why I'm on top of all this stuff. So it really comes down to, they sign a contract to do it. I want Nate to get paid, and I think Fanmio needs to pay him. I don't know what the percentage is on it. Whatever it is he didn't do, you know, then it needs, whatever. However they decide to deduct it or however they decide to negotiate, I don't know. But
I don't either, but I'm just being as honest as I can say without being a smart ass. Don't pay him.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you on that 100%. But there needs to be something. They need to be held accountable for the fact that, like, you directly, not promoting the fight, directly affected the pay-per-view buys. And you can't deny that. Like,
I'm not denying it. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying that there can't be a penalty, but you know, when you're holding $9 million,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm interested to see. I mean, like I said, I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Like, because they didn't waste any time. The show was last week. You know, and there's already
it was fast.
Yeah. Someone was telling me it was a class action lawsuit, as if like other people didn't get paid. I don't know if that's the case.
Then that would be, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, there'd have to be more than two. Yeah, more than two. And I would only think Chris Avila and him were the ones that didn't get paid. But I had also read that the whole card got paid except for the main event. And the holdings is because they basically, if you're going to hold from one, you got to hold from the other, apparently. I don't know.
No, see, and this is the difference is the California State Athletic Commission, since that fight happened in California, they hold a bond from Fanmio for the payment of whatever is on that contract as far as payment for that. Anything outside of that to do with like pay-per-view stuff, they have nothing to do with. So every fighter there that had nothing to do with any kind of pay-per-view, they got paid whatever was on their contract. They were handed a check that night when they went back to their locker room. Okay, same with Nate, was handed a check. Don't know how much for, but he was handed a check in his locker room. Same with Masvidal. But that only covers the amount of money that the commission knows about. Anything that is, done back doors or